Alright guys, welcome to Project Baby Yota. No, that was a slow jump, but it was still a jump. No! Shoo! Hey guys, welcome to Project Baby Yota. This is our 2002 Toyota Tacoma project truck. It's pretty much done, and we're gonna put it through a shakedown run today to see how we did. Alright, so first things first, Blaze has to chew his stick, and I gotta talk to you about these meats. We had to get rid of the original tires that we bought this truck with because they were just old and worn out. And check out these BFG KM3s we put on. These are the BF Goodrich KM3s. They are a big, chunky mud terrain with these big tread blocks that should offer a lot more traction out in the dirt and out in the mud, and of course out in the rocks. We're gonna see how they perform today. This truck came out so cool. I mean, it really is a huge transformation over when we bought this truck, but it was quite expensive. If you wanted to do this at home, you're gonna have to pay out for this project because the Tacoma itself was $7,700, and when you factor in the Toy Tech lift and the tires and the wrap and the Relentless fabrication bumpers and the Warren winch, I mean, you'd be into this like $15,000. Now granted, that is not a lot of money compared to a new truck payment, but it's still quite a bit of money for a cheap truck, especially an off-roader. So I wanted to see, how does it do compared to an actually cheap truck? This is our 2004 Ford F-150. Case calls it Manatee, and it was $3,900, somewhere in that territory. We've done nothing to it since we bought it. We're gonna see how they do up Cliffhanger 1.0. So we've got these water-filled and ice-filled holes here. I've got my co-pilot Blaze in the Ford F-150. Let's see if we can get through this. Let me go into four-wheel drive low. Got an old school mechanical lever. There we go. Four-wheel drive low. Now this is just the base model F-150. No special off-road groups. But even still, I think we should have no problem getting through this hole. Oh yeah. Not too bad today. I said that now. Sorry, buddy. Slam something on the other side there. And that hitch. Boy almighty. It's deeper than you expect it to be. Alright, let's see how the little Toyota does. First part, no problem, but as I learned in that Ford, we've got a big drop off into the water here, so I'm going to take this nice and slowly. Hopefully this lift we put on the truck helps, and it does. We didn't actually slam into the bottom like we did on the Ford. And how about the back end of departure? Oh, felt pretty good. Alright, onwards to the hill. So the Ford F-150, what do you need to know? Well, it's an 04 Ford. It's basically a work truck, long bed, single cab, four-wheel drive with a V8 engine. Let's see how it does up Cliffhanger 1.0. There are two sides. The left side is the easier side. The right side is much harder. We're gonna try both and see what happens. So, 230-ish horsepower, 290-ish pound-feet of torque out of a 4.6-liter V8 engine, basically a cop car engine. And in 4-low, really a lot of torque. I think this is a 4-speed automatic, but no issues climbing up. I mean, actually really good traction too. This has a set of basically upgraded 20-inch wheels. They're still Ford wheels, but definitely not what would have come on this truck. And it's got a set of worn out tires. I mean, worn out all-terrain tires, granted, but still they're ready to be replaced. And we just crawled up the left side of Cliffhanger 1.0 with no difficulty. All right. Time to head on down and then try the difficult side. So what are some of the pros and cons of the Ford F-150 off-road? Well, pro, I think it's a pretty well-made truck. I mean, 200,000 miles later, everything seems to work. Con, it is big, especially for Colorado trails. Getting it up here, I think we did some pinstriping of the paint, but that brings me up to the next pro. It's an affordable truck, right? You don't worry about it too much. If you scratch it up a little bit, who cares? the $3,000 F-150. So I'm gonna head right toward this route. Maybe not, I'm not even at the route and we're already stuck. This truck of course has open differentials, but it's also very heavy. This is not a light truck. Bringing it up some gas. Wow, these are very open differentials. I'm gonna take it nice and slow because this does not have a lot of underbody protection. This is not an off-road trip. It's trying to start me in like second or something. Not a lot of off-the-line torque with this little .6, but yeah, we're just smoking tires. All right, I don't think we're going to clear the route clearly, so let's take a different line around the route. If I come over here, full throttle now. My foot is in it, folks. It just doesn't have a lot of torque. It really doesn't. Full throttle. Alright, I could probably get this up, but I'm frustrated, and I'm going to back around down. So, the F-150 out of the box, not all that grand off-road, to be brutally honest with you. Maybe with some better tires, it would help a little bit, but you really need a locker. You can get away without a locker if you have a nice low-weight vehicle, but this is far from a low-weight vehicle. So let's jump into the Toyota and see how that compares. All right, now for Baby Yota, our 2002 Toyota Tacoma. This is a single cab truck with an automatic transmission and a 4-cylinder, 2.7 liter 4-cylinder, about 150 horsepower. It's got 182,000 miles on it. Okay, this is the easy side of Cliffhanger 1.0. Now there's pretty immediate differences. Even with a little 4-cylinder, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, this feels much more responsive and much more willing to rev and climb up this hill. I think the gearing is better on this Toyota than the Ford, even with the slightly larger than stock tires. This has 31 by 10.5 R15 tires. You're probably wondering at this point, you know, why didn't we go for like a 33 or that pizza cutter look? Well, the answer is pretty simple. 150 horsepower is still 150 horsepower, and it needs to be able to get you up into the mountains at 70, 75 miles per hour. And going like a 33-inch tall tire, not really sure it would do it, especially with the stock gearing. You'd really have to look into seriously regearing it. And as a reminder, we are auctioning this truck off for charity. Yeah, that's right. So at the end of the series, which is coming up pretty soon here actually, this truck is going to be auctioned off with all proceeds going to Mountain States Children's Home, a great charity here in Colorado. So coming down the hill, let's go ahead and see how it does. First gear, low range, ooh, really good actually. I'm not using the brake whatsoever. It's holding me at, according to the speedometer, 0 miles per hour. How was that possible? I think I'm going a little quicker than that. There we go. It's just jumped up a little bit. But yeah, right off the bat, I would say this is much more suited for off-roading than at least that F-150. So pros of the Toyota, well, it's much smaller than the Ford, far more maneuverable, especially in the narrow trees out here in Colorado. It's also much lighter, and people forget how important lightness is off-road. It is crucial, so I'm going to try to take the same line here as the Ford. We've already made it further without getting stuck. That's a good thing. Here comes the route. Let's see what happens. Are we going to crawl up the route? Oh my goodness, when I tried this when the truck was stopped, we had no chance of crawling up the route. Well, I may have spoken too soon. I'll try giving it a little bump. One more time. At least we have ground clearance now with the Toyota 3-inch lift on this puppy. Alright, well, let me go around the route. I don't want to break someone's truck, because one of you is going to win a really cool truck. And I would feel terrible if I exploded the transfer case or something. So we made it further than the Ford, that's for sure. I'm going to take the same line I took in the Ford to get around that nasty route, and you'd be amazed where you can go in these little Toyotas with open differentials, making it look much easier than the Ford so far. Oh yeah, killer. It also has better articulation. It does a better job of keeping the tires on the ground. Also going to take it nice and slow, just like the little Ford. Alright, well, we're still getting stuck in that same place, but we're having a much easier time at it here. We go into low, first gear, more throttle. Figure it out. Oh, yes! There we go! So that was a similar speed that I attempted to take in the Ford, but because the Toyota is so small and lightweight, you're able to kind of scamper up stuff, which you just can't do in the old heavy Ford. So That's one of the big reasons I love these Toyota trucks, is because they're nimble, they're lightweight. Well, that was super cool. We got to see the capabilities of both of these trucks. Now, the old Ford, it did okay for what it is, and for as affordable as it is, there's certainly a lot more you can do with a small amount of money, but the Toyota really rocked it. Those mud terrain tires worked like a dream. We had the underbody protection, the big, what do you think, Blaze? The big chunky bumpers, and yeah, it was just super, super fun off-road. Now, we gotta take this truck on an adventure, so stay tuned because we got a really big trip planned with the little Toyota, and then of course more planned with the F-150 to make it better in a lot of different ways. Well, as always, it's been Tommy with the Fast Lane Classics. Check out TFL Classics with Just Stop Jumping. No! Check out TFL Classic for the latest and greatest in Baby Yota reviews. What are you doing? Come on, dude. You're better than this.
Yeah, come on, Blaze. Be a professional.
Professional dog.